In the last video, you guys saw that we were over at the Midwest Firewood Frenzy. Part of that was getting a warehouse tour and a little bit of a chat with Chris Wolfe, who started the whole thing. So go ahead and enjoy the tour that we took. It's going to be a bit long, but I hope you guys stick around for the whole thing, because at the end, he did a little bit of a Q&A, and I will try not to cut as much as I can out of this, and I'll try and get the voices and volumes proper to where they're good to be heard, because I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm shooting this before I even get home to edit everything, so I hope everything turns out well, but if they don't, I'll try and put the volumes up or bring some volumes down. So hope you guys enjoy this, and if you need to, go ahead and use that closed captioning. It's okay. I don't blame you at all. Sometimes we need to do subtitles. So hope you guys enjoy, and I hope I hope you enjoy Chris's presentation on how Wolfe Ridge got its start, and how they worked through to what we see today. Thanks, guys.
All right, so this back lot here is where we receive all of our steel, and then also store all the machines that are ready to go out to the dealers and the customer pickups. We normally have about a steel truck, 1 or 2 steel trucks come in every day, and then 2 or 3, usually on average, semi-loads going out every week, and then other hot shot loads and customer pickups all the time. So normally this is pretty light, and we normally have like 2 or 3 deep, a row like 2 or 3 deep of machines that are done and ready to go. We just sent out 2 loads to Messick this week, and another load out somewhere else this week as well. So inventory is getting kind of low back here. We'll have to make sure accounting knows that we're actually doing our jobs and getting stuff out of here. So these big tanks, those are for the laser cutters. So we got the small tank is oxygen. That's what we use for cutting real thick plate. And then the nitrogen is for cutting stainless and the thin sheet metal. And they come in with a semi and fill them both up as needed. So there's actually some telemetry on there that'll tell the oxygen service, hey, we need to refill these automatically, so we don't have to ever monitor those. These blue racks here, we have all these little cutout plates on them. Those for the new bolt-on beams. They're like on the verticals and on the horizontal high output machines. We will stack all the beams on those and then send them to powder coat. And you see some of the new bolt-on beams for the high outputs on the set of those stands right now. These raw plates here, those are sub-weldments for the IC16s, and you see one raw over there. The IC16s have been really popular. So I think we had planned on doing a couple of those a month, and it's been now about 12 or 15 of them a month. So yeah, it really took off. So going in here, we've got weld on one side and we've got the fabrication department on the other side. We'll go in through the fab side first, because that's where all the material goes in first. We'll kind of make a loop around the shop like we do with the machine. Alright, looks like we got everybody now. Alright, so this is where we bring all of our material in here. We have all our sheet metal steel plate over on this side. And all of our tubing goes over here by the saw. We don't use the saw a whole lot anymore, not as much as we used to. Most of the stuff gets cut and formed out of sheet metal and plate. See, this bandsaw is hydraulic and it's auto feed. So we can set it to say, hey, we need to cut 100 pieces at 4 inches. This thing will do it, and like you just take them off middle auto feed and have pretty precise cuts on it. So that's been a good thing. And it'll handle like 2 foot by 20 inches, so it's pretty big machine. Most of the stuff is handled on our fiber laser here. If everybody wants, you can take a look through the window. You can see it cutting right now. Interchangeable cable, so when that one's done cutting, the cables will switch and it'll start cutting the next sheet. So, you can actually have this programmed to like cut after dark, after hours. So a lot of times, like tonight, they'll load up a sheet that'll have to take like 3 hours to cut. Let that cut while lights are off, so nobody has to stand here and watch. From here, everything normally goes to the press brakes or over to weld. And the press brakes are pretty neat. These are pretty precise machines. These green machines back here will keep moving down a little bit. These 2 green machines do all of our bending. This one's a 230-ton hydraulic press, and that one's an 80-ton electric or hydraulic. So they have like a little faster cycle time for real thin sheet metal, just doing the electric, not the hydraulic. But if you ever needed to build a really big wood splitter, this guy would do it if you really had to. But this is a 12-foot press brake.
Use the log tables.
These are part of the log lift, yep. And they get bent like 4 different ways, so yeah, this is how it looks when it's flat, and then they'll hit here, folding up this way, and then they'll turn it sideways, bend here and here. So, and then they'll be ready to go to weld. These are purchased for the springs for the VS and high output machines. These are the plates we weld the pipe on for the jacks. So, but yeah, all pickled and oiled. Nice clean finish. Nice clean cut from the laser. This machine right behind you guys, that's a time saver. So it's a belt sander that will put a brushed finish on stainless and whatnot if you need to. Or if you have big burrs on stuff, you can run it through there and get the burrs off. From this area, then everything kind of will funnel in through weld. Most everything that gets cut or formed here will go through weld. We'll go over that way next. He's 68 years old, and I worked with him back in probably 1996. We were building bridges together, and he was saying John's a hard worker. He's always kicking ass back here, and he does a lot of the small welds like the log lifts, the sorting tables, extensions, stuff like that. A lot of the sub welding, and he's still kicking ass at 68 years old. So, don't get in a fight with him. He's a rough son of a bitch. What? Don't mind my friend. Yep. Yeah. Why don't you take a break for a second? I'll do that. So John's making log lifts right here, and then Tony's making hydraulic tanks right behind us here. This is a lot where the small stuff gets welded, in here we'll do the wedges and whatnot, and then all the bigger stuff kind of gets done on the robot and then in the conveyor area. So this cell right here is the big robot. That's where we do all of our beams and our push blocks. And we actually do all the compact commercial and 28 roll frames on the other side. That robot has, what, a 5-axis, 6-axis, so the robot can be welding at the same time the table is rotating the part around. So if you're doing like pipes or something like that, you could be spinning the pipe around and welding all around at the same time. So it can move all different directions all at once. So, but yeah, the push blocks went from taking about an hour and a half for one guy to weld to going down to like 40 minutes. So, and then that robot doesn't need a bathroom break. So that's the good part. So, yeah, it's never off talking to its buddies or anything like that. Yeah. Behind us here, that's the conveyor cell. We got these long fixture tables so we can keep those conveyors nice and flat in line. And that's where we build the IC16s and all the FC conveyors. So. Let's see. We can kind of filter back this way and go down to assembly next. All right, so the last part of the fabrication process, we can run any of the wedges or any of the machine, we can run on this little mill. We normally outsource all the wings because we do so many of the wings and main wedges. These pieces here, we normally outsource those big ones or the ones that we do so many of. We only mill, the things that we only need 10 or 20 of. We'll do that here. But we can do all the wings here if we need to. But we make, I think we make about 500 of this one part a month. So we normally will send that out to a machine shop that has a lot faster mill. We're actually looking at getting a Haas VF4 and start doing some of that milling here. That'll be later this summer. So we'll probably have another mill sitting here next year. Behind us here, there's where Eric works on the weekends. He's building all the conveyors. It's nice to get the conveyors done on the weekends because they're so long, and you have to make sure you have a clear runway getting in and out. So it's nice having that all done on the weekends. During the week, we'll actually use this bay for assembling Rami and any of the import stuff. So it kind of, that cell right there kind of switches back and forth. So, but Eric does right now he's working on a 32 footer, and he's got the 5-horse Honda on there, 6-horse Honda on that machine, and then he'll start doing all the assembly of the hydraulics on the lower half, and then he'll bring in the upper half of the conveyor and start doing the assembly and then marry the two together. These machines here are all ready for QC. Looks like the orange machine back here, we're just waiting on some new panels to come in from powder coat, and it looks like they got a little bit more assembly there, but the rest of these machines here are ready for QC. So basically we do all the assembly over there, and then before they ship out and go outside, they'll get over here to get it staged and checked over for leaks or anything like that. Do test runs on them. Then we have this little packaging cell here, like all of our FPS fire bag stations, express wrappers, all that stuff get packaged up on that big table. And we keep all the stuff we're going to ship out, all the packaged items, will go on these shelves right around this area. Real close to shipping and that packaging area. So you see all these crates here, a lot of these are conveyor chains. These big crates here, they got engines in them. There's these are GX 390s, and there's 16 of them. Those are Polestar GX 390s. So there's 16 Honda engines in that crate. And you see there's more crates up above there. We normally have probably 100 engines on hand, and then we order like every 3 weeks at a time or a month at a time. So. Let's maybe funnel in here a little bit more. All right, so this is the main assembly area. You see we got one of our popular models here, a 28C. I think, yep, 28C. This is probably one of our most popular models. Normally we'll have 2 guys working on the compacts at all times, and then 1 person working on high outputs, 1 person working on the VSs all the time. So lately we've had to kind of change up the mix a little bit. So we got 2 guys working on high outputs, 1 on the VSs, and 1 guy on the compacts. And I don't know if you noticed all the frames in the front parking lot. That's our assembly backlog right now. So, but yeah, the guys have these lift tables so you can move the machines up and down. You're not having to crawl on the ground like I used to, putting these machines together. So makes it nice being able to have it at a decent height to work on, say, and putting the engines on. Having that to where you can just like take it off the cart and just set it on the machine at waist height and not have to bend over. Just like using the wood splitters, you want to make it easier on the body if you can. So these tables all can handle 3,000 pounds a piece, up, move up and down. And they'll go up to about probably waist high. So, but then when the machine's done, got the wheels on them, they can lower that table down and roll the machines over to get filled up with hydraulic oil. And then they'll do all their test runs, and everything gets checked twice. So the operator, the assembly guy, is going to physically run the machine, check them for leaks, and then also the QC guy is going to do the same thing over again. So that's how we make sure we have a good product going out the door. Yeah, this the 28C, I think we do probably, I would say 60% of the machines are based on the same chassis. And then maybe 20% of the machines are the high outputs, and then the other 20% VSs. So this has always been a super popular size machine. This here is a cardboard baler. We had so much cardboard coming out, like all the Honda crates are cardboard. So we'd have all these crates, boxes that we'd have to get rid of. And we were paying like $1,000 a month to get rid of cardboard. Well, the company that loaned us this machine, they recycle the cardboard, and they basically, here, take this baler and we'll just come pick up your cardboard. So it worked out great. So we bale it up and then set it outside. They come by with a grapple truck and they load up the bales. It works out perfect. So, but this machine here saves us about $1,000 a month in cardboard. Upstairs we have some offices, and we keep a lot of the, you see the green, yellow, and red bins. Those are all parts for the Rammies, Yappas, and Fuel Woods. We have them color coded up there. So all the small pieces up there. Mike, David, and Ben all have offices upstairs. So engineering and sales guys have offices up there. You can hear back in the corner our air compressor's running. That's our screw drive compressor. Basically a lot of part storage up there, and then all of our main offices are in the lower section. So, then of course, everything gets shipped out over by the loading docks or out the back door. UPS comes in with a semi truck just about nowadays with all the packages we send out. I think that we probably process now about 30 to 40 packages a day, and sometimes it'll be pallets full of FBSs going out. Like say if we're waiting on a part for an FBS and it gets, kind of bogs down the system, we'll end up having basically setting pallets of FBSs by the door with labels on them. So it's been really really fun to see how fast all that packaging stuff is going. The fire rings and everything also taken off too. So I think that's pretty much a tour. I'm sure there's probably some questions.
How'd you get started?
How did I get started? Figured that was going to be one of the questions. So I had a good job. I was working at a big fab shop, probably half an hour down the road. I was there for 5 years, and my buddies and I would get together and cut and split wood. We all had wood boilers, and so we'd all get together and split wood. While my buddy had a Spico 35 ton, the kind you see at Farm and Fleet, the single knife about 6 inches tall, and no log lifts, of course, no 4-way wedge, and it had about a 20-second cycle time, and it would take us all day to fill up a pickup load, so I was like, we need to do something better here. So I started looking at building something. So basically what I came up with was a machine like the high output over there. Not nearly as fancy as that one is, but built it with a lot of scrap metal and whatnot, and I had the highway axle so I could tow it down the highway. My buddy lived in Menominee, so like pulling it down the freeway was a must for me. Had a log lift. I built an 8-way wedge. Broke about everything on the first one. Rebuilt it again. And then work kind of slowed down, so they had to let some people go. And I was one of the guys on the weekend shift that had the nice premium for working weekends. And they like, see you later. So I had to make something happen. I had a mortgage and wife and kid at home, and so I sold my splitter, and I had probably 30-40 cord of wood already cut and split, so at that point, so it didn't really pay to have the splitter sitting around. So I sold the splitter, and I had so many people call about it that I was like, well, I guess I could build another one, and guy goes by the name of Jack. He's like, yeah, build me a red one, and put a Honda on that Sleep, and bring it over here. I'll pay you cash. And I was like, well, okay, well, I'll get to work on it. It took me a couple weeks, and I go over and meet him at his place, and I go pull up to this house, and it's just probably a 6,000, 7,000 square foot house, and you don't know which door is the front door, because there's doors here, and there's add-on buildings over there, and I was like, my truck's probably leaking oil in this guy's freaking driveway, and like looking at this big place, and all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye, here's a guy walking up with a classic Paul Bunyan look. He's got a red and white, or a red and black flannel shirt on, duck jeans, big beard, you know, tall guy comes walking over, he's like, "Hey Chris, I'm Jack." And he's super excited about this splitter. I'm so nervous. You know, like looking at the house and like, are we gonna go in that place? Like, he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about the house. That's the wife's house." He says, "I'm usually out here in the wood shop." And he starts looking at his splitter and he's like, "Man, you really did a good job of this." And he's like crawling on the ground, looking underneath it and looking at all the welds, and he's like, "You know, you should build another one. You should keep doing this." I'm like, "I don't know. My wife's gonna kill me. I need to get a job." And he's like, "No, seriously. Here's the money I owe you for the splitter. Here's a couple $100. You go get some more parts. You build another one." I don't know. Well, I got thinking about it on the way home from Afton, Minnesota. You know, why not? Give it a try. Job search wasn't going very well, and it just seemed to be kind of a slow time where, you know, a lot of the fab shops weren't hiring, and what the heck. So I stopped at Northern Tool on the way home, and I grabbed a Honda engine, and I grabbed a few piece parts I couldn't find elsewhere, and, you know, sure enough, started building another one, and I kept my ads going on Craigslist, and sure enough, a couple days later, somebody else called. "Yeah, I want one. Yeah, I want, you know, I'll paint it." He said, "Oh, I'll paint it myself," and this and that, and but I want a 35 ton and a 4-way wedge and a log lift, and let's put fenders on it, and, you know, maybe a spare tire or something like that. And, okay, you know, so start building that, and a week and a half, 2 weeks later, we come pick it up, and wow, this is, you know, working out pretty good. So it kind of, every time I'd build a new one, I'd take more pictures and I'd update the Craigslist ad, and pretty soon, like 7 machines later, I'm like, okay, I can't weld and talk on the phone anymore. Like, you know, it ain't working. So I ended up hiring a guy that was also laid off from the same place I worked at. He was also a welder, and so we would he would do the welding on the one side of the garage, and I would do the assembly on the other side. We needed to fill up the air compressor. We'd plug the air compressor in, and if you needed to weld something, then you'd plug the welder in. And,
Yep.
You're always constantly doing that. Oh, you got to stop welding for a little bit so we can let the air compressor fire up. And then, you know, if we were using a plasma cutter, it would be, you know, musical chairs with electrical power. So we only had enough power to run one of those pieces of equipment at a time. We couldn't run all 3, so, or 2 of them at a time. So, but it wasn't very long. We found that it wasn't going to work in a 26 by 32 garage anymore. Especially with all my home stuff is up on shelves, getting dusty, dirty, and then of course hauling the machines back and forth, the powder coat and whatnot. Just wasn't feasible. Well, the powder coat shop that we still use to this day, they had about 1,200 square feet of space that I could lease from them for $400 a month. And I talked to my wife about it, and she's like, "Oh, $400 a month? I don't know if we're gonna go broke. You need to find a job. Stop fucking around with these wood splitters." Like, well, you know, I mean, we sold 20 of them now. Like, we're gonna go broke and this and that. And I don't know. I think we should do it. You know, and they had, you know, it's an industrial building, so they had 3-phase power. They had a loading dock. They had a forklift. They had, you know, they had pallet racking we could use. So it worked out perfect. We moved all of our welding equipment, air compressor, all that stuff, plasma cutter, and it was pretty tight space. Like we had an area for assembly and we had an area for 1 or 2 guys to weld. And if you got like a pallet of parts, and you had to put that pallet of parts away because you didn't have a place to work otherwise. But we would weld the machines up, roll them over to the powder coat shop. They would blast it, powder coat it, and then basically assemble it all in one space. So it worked out great. And of course, then having the loading dock to be able to start shipping the machines out. We actually shipped our first overseas shipment. One of those high output SHO machines went to New Zealand out of that shop. So I think it was number like 62 or something like that. Went to New Zealand. So from there, as we grew, and of course the powder coat shop had to grow at the same time, it got pretty tight. So we running out of space there. We ended up getting into a building down the road here, maybe 3/4 of a mile. It was the incubation center. It was a place where they bring in manufacturing companies to help them grow. They have a reduced rate on rent, and basically they want companies like mine to start hiring people from the community and helping them grow that way. So that place also had a forklift and loading dock and 3-phase power, so we were able to really grow there. And I think we were there for about 3 years, and same story, we ran out of room, and that's when we started building this shop here, and later on added that second addition 2 years later. So right now, as you can see, it's pretty full already. Yeah, it's what they always say, double it and then double it again. Yeah, we doubled it, and we got to do the second double now. So whenever you build a shop or a garage, you always want to do way bigger than you thought you're going to need. And so far so good. It's been working, but yeah, we're probably ready to add some more space. But any other questions? Yeah.
So approximately how many units are you shipping out of here a year?
I think we do. They say we're doing about 100 a month. I think that's pretty conservative. Especially if you add in, normally that's like splitters. If you figure in like IC16s and the, even the skid steer splitters, the conveyors, I think that number is, a little bit higher. So, but yeah, like there's weeks where we'll have 5 53-foot Conestogas in and out of here, loaded out. So, yeah.
What year was it you built the first one?
The first one I built for myself, I built in March of 2015, and then I lost my job in August 2015. Built and sold that like shortly thereafter. So, but basically by December, by the end of the year, I was on number 10, I believe, before end of 2015. Yeah. Yep. And then I built the next 10 out of my garage, and I think we moved into the powder coat shop, I want to say March or April of 2016.
How long you been here?
In this building?
Yeah.
We built this in 2020. So, yeah. And at the time, I think we had 7 employees at the incubation center. Moved in here and we doubled to 13 or 14 employees, and all working in this shop before we started adding extra shifts and whatnot.
How many employees now?
I think we have 40.
How many hours do you run?
What's that?
How many hours do you run?
The first shift will run 4 10s or 4 12s, and then weekend shift will run 3 12s.
You've stuck to building a quality product in this world of junk.
Yeah, thank
People
you.
are
Thank
tempted
you.
to build not as good of stuff.
Right.
So, it's good to see that quality product sells.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a little bit of olive Eau Claire in every one of your machines. We're kind of proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that's always, been the, something that I always held kind of close was making sure that people are happy. Like my name's on the side of that.
Yeah.
There's growing pains and there's things that, we wish were better. A lot of the piece parts that we order, the pumps, if we've got a problem with pumps, like I'm, pretty adamant that we either find a new pump or we choose somebody's butt, upstream, so we get a good quality product coming in too. So, but yeah, there's, as you grow, like you never thought that, hey, we'd have to talk to this guy about, hey, don't put the hose on that way, or do this or that, so. But yeah, all those growing pains and challenges you go, come along with it. Yeah.
Where are the Honda engines made?
Where are the Honda engines made? I think the V-twins are made in China, and the singles are made in Japan. The only engines that Honda has assembled in the U.S. are the GC series, the ones that they're phasing out of now. I'm surprised they haven't started bringing some of the GXs in to those plants where the GCs were made with the tariffs. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, but it has. So. But yeah, those are fully imported. Any other questions? No? No? All right. Well, that's kind of the tour, and if you guys want to walk around, we have all kinds of parts underneath the awning on that side of the building, all kinds of frames outside the front and along the side here. So, feel free to walk around, take a look at stuff. So, but thanks you guys all for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.